Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English and this is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video we are going to analyze an interesting poem titled An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. This poem is composed by the famous English poet Stephen Spender. This poem is in the syllabus of first semester BCom English subject under Bangalore University, and this is the new syllabus SCP 2024 syllabus onwards. So if you want to witness the condition of an elementary school classroom, especially in the slum location, then you should read this poem. So let's now understand the introduction of the poem. An elementary school classroom in a slum by Stephen Spender is a poem about the children who live in the slum, who live in a slum, and the poet describes the harsh living condition of those children, those poor kids who are living in such kind of location. He also talks about the lack of opportunities from which they are betrayed. The poem contrasts the slum children's harsh realities with their unfulfilled dreams. This poem vividly portrays the harsh realities faced by the children growing up in the impoverished conditions, which also criticizing the failure of society to address the plight. Means to say how the society could not fulfill the needs of those children who are in the elementary school, especially in the slum location. So now this poem has the four stanzas. So let's begin the stanza number one. The poet says, far, far from gusty waves, these children faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pillow, the tall girl with her waked down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky hair of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room other than this. So let's understand the difficult words meaning. So I have already highlighted the difficult words and the glossary is already given on the screen here. Gusty waves means to say the breezy wind. Pallor means very pale, very dull faces. Paper seeming boy means to say very thin boy, as thin as a sheet of the paper. Stunted means to say not fully grown up due to some malnutrition, very feeble. Gnarled means knotted, very rough. So in this first stanza, the poet Stephen Spender begins by describing the children in the slum classroom. And these children in the slum classroom are very physically and mentally exhausted. He compares their faces to being far, far from gusty waves. That means they are disconnected from the lively, fresh energy of nature. It's a metaphor. Lively, fresh energy from nature. The children are described as rootless weed, which symbolizes that they have no strong foundation, they have no support in their life. They are just like weeds that can easily be removed because they have no roots. That means they don't have any support. They are just like weeds which can easily be removed. Their hair is uncombed, framing their pale face, which shows very pale face, very dull face, and that face shows something like very malnutrition or illness. They are not received any nutritious food. That kind of facial expression, that kind of body is being displayed here. So each child represents here different struggles. Now, which are these child here? So in this stanza, we find here three different pictures. One, the tall girl who is sitting with her head weighed down. Possibly she's very much stressed, maybe hunger, maybe fatigue, maybe tired. Second is here the paper seeming boy. The boy looks very fragile, very unhealthy. and but with very alert eyes, just like a rat's eye, which suggests here he's always on the edge, perhaps from a life of struggle. Secondly, the unlucky here is a boy. Means to say the boy is very unlucky. The boy has got a disease, like an inherited disease, where we can see his twisted bones, right? With twisted bones. So something like it's here referring to a condition like rickets, a common illness caused by the malnutrition. So this boy is described as he's reciting his lesson, but his focus is more on the suffering, is inherited suffering, than his education. What is inherited suffering? The malnutrition. So at the back of the dim, at the last bench, at the back of the dim, which is always as a neglected classroom, there's one child who stands out for his imagination. This child is very famous for his imagination. If you see in these last two lines here, unnoted. So while others seem defeated by the harsh reality, but this child who is in the last bench, back of the dim, this child's eyes live in a dream, because he imagines as he's playing with the squirrels in the forest far away from the grim life, his mind escapes the classroom and the slum into a happier and the free world. So this boy is away from all the sadness, all the frustration, and all the, we can say, all the unhappiness which the all the students in the slum situation location they receive. This boy is imagining that as he's playing with a squirrel. So his imagination is for the happiness. So in this poem, in this stanza, after going through the stanza, we find here these three important key ideas, which you can see on your screen here. Which are these key ideas from this stanza? We find here the children's physical appearance reflects the hardship they face. Which children? Those in the elementary school classroom in the slum location. Their physical appearance reflects the hardship, the struggle they are facing. Secondly, the comparison of the children. Children are compared to the rootless weeds. They are described as a pallor and the rat's eye and pallor and the rat's eyes. They show something like their neglected state. They are in a very neglected situation. So there is a contrast between the one child who is dreaming a better life and the other children who seem burdened by the reality. So hope you have understood the stanza number one, where the children's description are given who are in the elementary school classroom in the slum. Now let's go to the stanza number two. On sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized doom riding all cities, belt, flurry, tireless valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, were all the futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, caps, and stars of words. So difficult words you can see on the screen, they are highlighted. So which are the difficult words are here? Sour cream walls. That means to say the walls are old and dirty. Tyrolese Valley means to say a beautiful ice-free valley in Austria, then sealed with a lead sky. That means the sky is heavy and gray, which symbolizes the hopelessness in their lives. Caps means to say a large piece of land that sticks out into the sea from the coast. From the coast. Now, let us see what does the poet say here. In this second stanza, the classroom is described as very dull, very dreary, with a description called sour cream walls. That means the walls are old, dirty, perhaps very stained. On these walls, what do we find here? We find here there are posters and the educational decorations, but they seem out of place in this environment because the classroom displays an image of Shakespeare's head, which symbolizes the knowledge, culture, power of language. Then we find on the classroom wall the map, the world's map, which shows the world cities and the landscape, just like Tyrolese Valley, which is known for its scenic beauty. So the classroom is decorated with all these posters, like Shakespeare's poster, the map which shows the cities, etc. But these images are not suitable in this environment where the children are suffering. So, however, the poet points out that these images do not connect with the children's real life situations. The children cannot relate to Shakespeare or beautiful civilized world the map is showing because their own world is the slum, which is outside the classroom. And the slums world is full of fog, poverty, narrow streets with no visible future. So for these children, the future is painted with a fog. That means the future is unclear without hope. The beautiful rivers, caps, and stars shown on the map mean nothing to them because the reality is far removed from these images. So whatever these paintings, these pictures which are shown on the classrooms walls, which have no connectivity with these children's real life, they cannot connect it. So when we go through the stanza number 2, when we go through it here, we try to summarize the stanza saying this: there's a contrast between the beauty and the knowledge which is shown in the classroom, like Shakespeare, uh, the map, and the harsh, oppressive world, the harsh reality of those children they are living in. So there is a contrast here. The slum children feel disconnected from the hopeful future that the education is going to promise them. There's a lot of disconnectivity. There's no reality what they are really getting and what they are really living in. The phrase lead sky represents the heavy, hopeless feeling of their lives. So this is about stanza number 2. Now we are moving to the stanza number 3. In the stanza number 3, Stephen Spender, the poet says, surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love, tempting them to steal far four lives that slightly turn in their cramped holes from folk to endless night. On the slag heap, the children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones, all of their time and space of foggy slum, so blot their maps with slums as big as doom. So quite difficult stanza, I feel so. Slyly means very trickily, very trickily. Cramped holes means very small, uncomfortable homes where these children are living in the slum location. Spectacles of steel, very old, broken glasses. These children they wear. Foggy slum means to say very dark, dirty place where there is no hope. So in the third stanza, the poet criticizes the educational system that exposes these slum children to the ideas like Shakespeare, maps of the world that feel very irrelevant to them. Their real life is something different. And in the classroom, they're learning about Shakespeare, they're learning about the beautiful cities which are displayed on the map, located on the classroom's wall. So Shakespeare is called here very wicked, and map is a worst example, a bad example. Why? Because these things offer dreams for a better life, but the children know, they know very well they cannot achieve them because these images with the promise of ships, sun, love, they only tempt the children to dream of things they cannot have. The poet suggests that this might lead those children to stealing or the other acts of desperation, because their real life are spent in the cramped holes, small, dark, dirty homes. How can they imagine these things? So the poet has used here very vivid imagery to describe their extreme poverty in this stanza. The extreme poverty has been portrayed. These children wear the clothes that are so old, worn out. Their bones show through the skin. Through the skin, you can see the bones. They wear the spectacles of steel with mended glass. That means they wear the broken glasses repaired with whatever the materials are available. So their lives are compared to living on a slag heap. Slag heap means like a pile of waste, right? Like a garbage, we can say, a pile of waste. So their lives are compared to the slag heap, means a pile of waste. So this emphasizes that they are treated like unwanted or discarded people. They are treated just like unwanted or the discarded people. So the slum itself is described as a foggy, showing how their environment is unclear, dark, without hope, trapping them in misery. The poet suggests that these children's entire lives are consumed by the slum's fog, with no escape in sight. You cannot run away. They can't run away from this situation. They are living in, they have been living in such kind of extreme poverty situation. So now let's try to summarize the stanza. So in every stanza, I'm trying to summarize also, explanation comes a summary. So in this stanza, we find here the poet criticizes how the education system shows these children's dreams, which they can never achieve. The harsh reality of the daily life is highlighted by the poor living conditions and fragile health. The imagery of the imagery of fog and darkness emphasizes the hopelessness of the situation. So this is about stanza number 4. Now we are moving to the, I'm sorry, this is about stanza number 3. Now we are moving to the fourth and the last stanza of this poem. The poet says, unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes the window, and these windows that shut upon the lives like catacombs. Break, or break open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields, and make the world run azure on gold sands, and let the tongues run naked into the books. The white and the green leaves open the history, they open history, theirs whose language is the sun. I read once again. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes the window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break, or break open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields, and make the world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open history, theirs whose language is the sun. So difficult words are already highlighted. Let's know the meanings. Governor, inspector, visitor. Who are they? They are the people who can help to improve the children's lives, who can bring a change. Catacombs means to say underground burial place. So we can call them as a cemetery, tomb, which shows how trapped the children feel. The children feel like they are trapped, just like a dead body is kept into the cemetery or in the tomb. Azure on gold sands, that means blue sky, the golden beaches, which symbolizes the freedom, happiness. Language is the sun, that means a future which is filled with learning and hope. So now let us see how does the poet end this poem with this last stanza. The poem ends with a call for change. The poem has called for a change. The poet addresses people in the position of power, like governors, inspectors, visitors, and the poet is asking those powerful people, the poet is asking them to break the cycle of poverty in which these children are trapped in. He wants them to break open the wall of the slum that keeps these children isolated from the rest of the world. The window in the classroom, which only show them their miserable lives, these windows should be opened up to let the children see a better world. Metaphorical? The poet hopes that the children will be given a chance to experience the green fields, azure on gold sands. That means let them imagine, let them give a chance to feel a world of freedom, a world of beauty, a world of happiness. He dreams of a time when these children can learn freely. The poet dreams that a time will come when these children can learn freely with books that open like the leaves in the sunlight, which symbolize the knowledge and opportunity. The poet imagines a future where history is theirs, whose language is the sun. That means the poet imagines a future where these children will finally have a bright future where they can write their own stories, shape their own lives, full of learning, hope, and success. So the poem ends with a very optimistic note. The poem ends with a voice to bring a change. So let us summarize this stanza here. The poet calls for intervention, a kind of interference. The poet calls for an intervention from those people who are in the power to help these children to come out from their miserable lives. The imagery of green fields, gold sands represents the poet's hope for a better future for the children. The poem ends with a hopeful vision of children having a bright future filled with knowledge and freedom. So, this is how the poem ends, with the optimistic note. The poem ends with a hope for a great change where the people who are powerful, the people who are capable, they can bring a change, they can bring a kind of a equality. So, let's conclude the whole poem. So, to sum up, we can say that Stephen Spender's famous poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, portrays a vivid picture of the harsh conditions faced by the children in a slum. Their appearance, their health, their surroundings reflect the suffering and hopelessness of their lives. The images of knowledge and beauty in the classroom, like Shakespeare, world maps, they only serve as a cruel reminder of what they can't have. The poet the, the poet ends with a plea, a kind of request, a kind of voice for the society to intervene and give these children a chance to come out of their bleak future, dream of a world where they are free to learn, grow, and thrive. So, my dear children, my dear students, we also have a responsibility to help those children who are in the slum, those children who are studying in a kind of schools which are located in slums, or the schools which don't have the facilities in the slum, to help them in terms of maybe in terms of stationery or in terms of education. Whenever we are free, we can conduct few classes for them. So this is how as a loyalty to the community, loyalty to the society, we should also come forward to extend our helping hands to those children who are in the slum, so that there can be an equality in the society. So friends, this is how I have tried my best to analyze, to simplify this poem, An Elementary School in Classroom in a Slum, composed by Stephen Spender. Hope you have liked this video. If you like the video, click on the like button, write in the comment box. Please do write in the comment box your opinions. How do you like this video, or any kind of corrections? It's most welcome. You are most welcome. And if you have not yet subscribed my channel, please do it. If you have just look into the playlist, you'll get all the videos links over there, which belongs to first semester BCom, Bangalore University syllabus, English, the syllabus which started from 2024. So friends, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay connected with Mukesh English.